welcome back to the next episode of Just Advisor Things. Today we have Sue Blackmon from the Incarnate Word Academy right here in Houston. You live super close to me. We've been interviewing advisors all over the country, so it's cool to have another Houstonian, another Astros fan on the episode today. So thank you so much for joining us, Sue. How are you doing today?
Oh, you're welcome. I'm great. I'm glad to be here. I love talking to you, and I love talking anyway. So
Me too. We're matching. We have our green.
with matching green.
Yes. I love it. So to get started, I'd just like to tell, the people watching a little bit about you. How did you get into advising, into teaching maybe, and kind of your journey through advising through the years?
Okay. Well, it's been a few years. I'll get to that in a minute. Back in the dark ages, when I was in the third grade, I knew then I wanted to be a teacher. And I always wanted to be the teacher when you play school with your friends, because I could boss people around, whatever. But anyway, so then that never really changed. I didn't know what I wanted to teach. I just knew I wanted to be a teacher. So in high school, I was in band and student council and twirler and all that good stuff. But my junior year, I got involved with yearbook. And back in the early 70s, yes, in the early 70s, yearbooks were so different, thank goodness, that they're much better now than they are now. But I still liked it. And I had an interest, I had developed an interest in advertising and graphic design. Well, it wasn't called graphic design back then, but design. Anyway, and so that just kind of piqued my interest. So I get to college, and I was started out with a major in, I think it was journalism and speech, or speech and spin. I don't remember, but journalism and something. I don't know. So anyway, and so I signed up for an advertising class, and I was sitting in there, and I was just like, this is not what I thought it was. It was more of a business advertising class. So, talk to the professor. He goes, no, you need to take the journalism advertising class. So I signed up for that class and had the best young teacher ever that was so passionate about it. And I just loved it. And so if I wasn't already majoring in journalism, I switched my major to journalism after that class, and worked on the yearbook and the newspaper in college. And I was one of those people, I still am, one of those people who started out teaching journalism and yearbook and newspaper. I wasn't like, oh, by the way, you're going to do no, I wasn't one of those people. I fell in love with it, and I've taught it. This is my 44th year to teach.
Congratulations. That's great.
And thank you. It's all been yearbook, newspaper, journalism, or whatever. And I retired from public school in June of 21. And that same week, a girl that had been in my department, I was actually her department chair at the time, she had left, and she was here at Incarnate Word, and she called me. She said, hey, I heard you retired. I said, how in the world did you hear that? I just did it.
I did it yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, she goes, no, I have my ways. I'm like, oh, whatever. Anyway, she goes, we might have a yearbook. I said, seriously? I just retired. The timing was right. I wasn't really ready. I didn't think, but the timing was right. So anyway, she said, but let me tell you about the school. She told me about the school and all. And then she goes, and we're across the street from the Astros. I went, wait, what?
You're like,
what? That's sign me up. Antennas go up, I'm like, Astros? Okay. But anyway, so that, and I only don't ever say only teach yearbook, because we all know that one class of yearbook is not one class.
Oh no. Yeah.
But I'm only assigned one class. So it's part-time. So that's my only responsibility now. So I come downtown usually 3 days a week for class, because it's a block schedule here. So I still love it, or I wouldn't be doing it after all.
Right. That seems like a dream. Only yearbook. So that's great.
I know it is.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you've been there a couple of years now.
This is my third year here.
Third year. Okay. And you were at your previous school quite a while.
I was at Klein Forest for 30 something years, 33,
quite a
34
while.
years. Yeah. And then before that, I was at Channelview for a while. And then before that, I took over the year Cypress Creek opened. After Christmas, the teacher went on maternity leave and never came back.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't realize you were in Cypress ever. So
yeah. Something funny I left out. This is funny because this is a yearbook world, and most anybody that would be watching this would know Mike Parker.
Oh yeah.
Mike Parker and I were in college together at the same time, and he was president of the. Now when you get old, your brain doesn't work. The Journalism Professional Society. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But I can't remember the name of it.
Like in college, you mean?
Yeah, in college. That was but anyway, and so it was really funny. I was cleaning out a box not too long ago, and I found, we keep everything because we might need it. I found the letter from Mike welcoming me into Society of Professional Journalists College chapter.
There you go.
That's what it was. Welcoming me into that chapter at college. I had the eyes cracked up laughing.
Oh, that's funny. It's a small world, honestly. Like
it is.
Journalism advising world is small, but the journalism world in general is not that too much bigger.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
oh, that's funny. Fun. So y'all have been friends for a long time.
Yes, we have been a long time.
Oh, I love that.
That's fun.
Well, so like you said, you've been there for a long time. You're at one school for a long time. Right now, in the past, I've been in the advising world about 10 years, and then I was a journalism student when I was in high school. But in just the past couple of years, we've seen so many changes in, the landscape of teaching and of advising and post-COVID. And there's been a lot of publisher changes these past couple of years. So what have you seen since the beginning of your advising career, or when you were in high school even, till now? Yearbooks have changed, but a lot of advisors are just quitting because it's a lot. And so what's your advice to advisors for, making it a career like that,
I would have to say, take advice from a sea turtle.
I love the advice.
Turtles.
It's in the planner. If you don't have the planner,
in the planner, it's there. But seriously, you're right. There have been so many changes, and when I tell the kids about quad packs and grease pencils, and they're like, we wouldn't have done it. I said, yes, you would have, because there was no other way to do it. And you just have to be able to adapt and swim with the current, and just kind of take it all. And you don't have to know everything. Back in the day, you had to know everything. But now you don't have to know everything. You have to be a good navigator where you can know where to go to get help. And there is so much help in the journalism world. Like, it's a small world, you said, but there is so much help, whether it's from an advisor at another school, because a lot of schools, it's just you. Some schools are fortunate to have 2 or 3, but most of the time it's just you. But you can work with an advisor from another school. There are multiple journalism organizations. Your site, Organized Advisor. I mean, there are so many outlets where you can get help, that there's no reason to not ask for help. I'm going through the advice from a sea turtle. Stay calm under pressure. And when I was a young teacher, I'm pretty high stress, but when I was a young teacher, I was just like, any little thing would stress me out. I would panic. I would freak out. I would get worried. And as I went through the years, it's okay. It's really okay. It's a big deal right now, and you got to take care of it. But in the overall picture, just stay calm, organize your thoughts, make a list. I'm a list maker. Make a list, check it. And if you didn't accomplish anything on your list that day, but you got some other things, write them on the list and check them off.
I do that every single day.
Just so you can check something off.
I'm like, made coffee and drank it. Check. Like, whatever it is.
There you go.
Those are wins.
That's right. And another advice from the sea turtle is be well traveled. And if you can travel the world, go for it. What I mean by that in the teacher or yearbook advisor realm is any convention, any workshop, any offering that you can go to, go. I know that there are some people that go to every single convention. I don't know how they get their class done. They're gone to, I mean, there's so many to choose from, but pick and choose, but at least go. And, you know, if you've got multiple schools in your district, get your publishing company to do a workshop just for your school. And don't do it at the school if you don't have to. You know, go somewhere, like go to a venue of some sort, just to kind of take a little break. But take advantage of those conventions and workshops, because it just gives you a different picture. And that can be traveling, you know, and because and like sometimes it's, if you do get to go to one of the national conventions, they're they're always in another city. Like, I don't think there's been one in Houston that I can ever remember.
No,
Dallas,
there was one in Dallas in 2017, I think. So,
yeah, and there
or
was one a
18
long
maybe.
time ago in Dallas, but that's really fun to get to, you know, to be well traveled a little bit. Think long term. You know, with yearbooks, everything is so now. But really and truly, yearbooks are for the long term. Our school, Incarnate Word, this year is 150 years old.
Oh, wow.
And we're only on volume 72 or 73 of the yearbook, but the school itself is 150 years old. And so you have to think about 50 years from now, 10 years from now, 100 years from now, if this book is still around and somebody's looking at it, you got to think about, really think long term about what you're putting. Yes, capture today, capture this moment in time is what it is. And so age gracefully, let your hair go gray. You know, but just have fun with it. And the last thing on the advice with this from the sea turtle is spend time at the beach. And anybody that knows me knows that I love the water. Cruising is my favorite thing. I grew up on the water. My dad always had boats. I love the water. But if you're not a beach person, spend time at you fill in the blank. Whatever makes you happy. Do things that make you happy. Enrich yourself so that you can stay in it for the long term, because it's not an easy job. And with the technology changing, and some schools locking down that technology, and it's slow and it's cumbersome, you know, and don't be afraid to not know something. Like last year, Incarnate Word is an all-girls school. And last year, and it's a new staff every year with the exception of maybe one girl. But they wanted to do a handwriting font. I'm like, okay. So they were looking through the fonts and they didn't like any of them. And they said, can we make our own? And I said, I don't know how to do it. But if you can figure out how to take somebody's handwriting and turn it into a font, you can do it. They did. So see, I didn't have to know how to do that. They're much smarter than I am with all of this newfangled, am I dating myself, technology. but it's okay to let your students take the reins with that and do things that they want to do. Yeah, you got to kind of watch some of them and make sure they don't, you know, but learn from them too. I learn a lot from my students.
For sure. I mean, I feel like the role of an advisor, because it is a student publication, you know, a lot of times feel like we have to have our hands in it and be helping them design pages. But really, as much as you can, you want to offload that onto them and have them be doing it and empower them and delegate. And so not only is that giving them the experience and truly making it a student publication, but then it's not on you. Like you don't have to do that work.
Right. Because we have to check it, you know, to make, and I'm one of these, like, get my little turtles in a row, you know, but I'm real picky about check. Yeah, let them do it, let them check, but I just have to check it before it goes to, because I've always told them, I said, every year I tell my staff, I said, look, this is my 44th year of teaching. I've never been on the news yet, and you don't want to be the staff that puts me there.
Heck no. That's not,
because, you know, you hear it every spring when yearbooks come out. Somebody snuck something in, or somebody's doesn't like something, or and now with people being so sensitive about everything, you have to be really careful and pay attention to what you're doing.
For sure. I mean, and that is the role of the advisor for sure, is to
Exactly.
be that guidance of telling them what can and cannot be in there, but also checking and making sure book works.
Yeah.
To the print. I mean, I think that a lot of times I talk about, I like preach about it. I'm like, delegate, delegate, delegate. And so I don't want advisors to ever hear like have a hands off approach either. You know, like you still have to be the one that does the final submission. I think, you know, like
I do too.
You know, you're the adult in the room, basically. So.
Yeah. I mean, and you can help them tweak their designs and make them, that's advising, that's teaching them. And that's what we really should do. And I really hope, and I think that too helps with the longevity. I mean, and sometimes you get so upset with a principal and their new rules or whatever. Well, this is another thing that's gotten me through all these years is new principal comes in, you go have a conversation with them. And then it's like kind of like new preacher comes to church. I'll give them a year. If I don't like it, after a year, I'm gone. I never had to do that. They always left first.
They do move quickly, it seems.
They do. So don't ever make a decision on your worst day.
That's great advice. I
don't ever make a decision.
Listen to that. When I left teaching, it was a new principal that I had a very difficult time with, and I obviously did end up leaving. So have you had circumstances where you really didn't get along with the principal, and how did you handle that? Because I think a lot of advisors don't know how to handle that.
That comes with age. If I would have had some of these, I've had very few, but in 44 years, I've had a lot of principals that I've worked with. I've had very few that were incredibly difficult, and really only 3 that made me want to quit, you know, but they left, so I didn't have to. But you have to give them some grace and accept that you can have conversations with them. You have to establish from the very beginning an open line of communication, because if you, that's why I said when a new principal came in, I would always make an appointment immediately and go and talk to them, tell them about the program, take some yearbooks or newspapers or whatever, tell them how I operate, and then now how would you like for us to work together? Kind of put it back on them so that you've got that. And in the very beginning, you don't know them, they don't know you. So you get that established. So then when they do something that you don't like, or they pull a picture, or they tell you can't print something, because some schools, you know, still have that. Then you can go in and talk to them about it. And sometimes I prefer that the students go talk to them about it, but I'll be there in the background. And then other times it requires me to go and talk to it and talk to them, to it.
The principal.
To it. And I mean, I could give you some specific examples if you want, but I don't know if that's really necessary. But
well, I mean, if there's a specific example that helps to illustrate it, because I know.
Yeah, there is. The one time there was a photograph on the back of the book. There were some pictures on the front, but there was a picture on the back of the book, and it was taken at a football game. And it was a multiracial picture. And one of the boys had a gold tooth. Not against dress code.
Right.
He had a gold tooth. He had a cap on, which is not against dress code at a football game. And they were all standing there like that, you know, that little tough guy
posing
pose,
up.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Cute picture. Well, so when the principal was looking at the proof, he's like, we can't have this picture. I said, well, why not? Well, that's not our students. I said, yes, they are. Everybody in that picture is a student here. Well, we just can't have that. And I'm like, why? Well, that doesn't represent our school. I said, those are students, you know. And that conversation went back and forth. And he wasn't going to give up. And so it was either that's the hill I'm going to die on, or we're going to get another picture. So we posed another picture that was similar but different. And he said, well, I guess I'll let this one go. Okay. So probably, and the kids knew about it, and because
Mm-hmm.
they were the one, obviously, I don't hide stuff like that from them.
Mm-hmm.
So about 3 weeks later, a student, one of my yearbook or newspaper students, I remember, one of them came running into my room with a flyer in their hand, shaking it. And I'm like, what is going on? And how come they got to do this? Let me look at it. And what it was, believe it or not, was our mascot with the cap
Oh my gosh.
posed up
Yeah.
on their organization's t-shirt. And my kids were just furious. And I'm like, okay, you know what you have to do. So they made an appointment with the principal. They went in, took the flyer, told him. Well, the principal started hyperventilating. Literally, he didn't have an answer. Like, he acted like he didn't know it, because at the time, t-shirts were supposed to have been approved by somebody, and
Right.
somebody, And so he just said, well, I guess we just have to agree to disagree, or, and that was it. But you just have to realize that everybody has their own agenda. We don't know what's going on behind their scenes, but
Yeah.
just establish a good line of communication in the beginning and continue to have those conversations. And there was another example a long time ago. There's a newspaper article about toxic shock. And the principal at first said no. The kids went to talk to him and explained, and oh yeah, that's a great article. We need to have people educated. So you get both sides of the story when you do that. And it all eventually will balance out. It'll give you some stress, make your blood pressure go up for a little while, but
for sure.
That's my best advice, is start with a new principal with open communication immediately, so that when something does come up, you don't have to go in and kind of go in the back door.
Right. That's such good advice. When I quit teaching, it was like I said, a principal issue. And I know that I didn't handle things perfectly. It definitely didn't go how I'd expected it to, but that is always my advice, is as early as you possibly can, is establish as good of a relationship as you can, like be really intentional about, getting to know them and building that rapport with them so they trust you. And so when something does happen, because more than likely something's going to,
you're right. At some point, something is going to happen.
But then you're not panicked, and you can have a conversation instead of being on the defense, which is what I wish I would have done more so than I was able to. So yeah, great advice. I think that's so helpful.
But again, some of that comes with age,
right?
And just the experience. That's why I say, don't ever quit on a bad day.
Right. Yeah. It's so important. And if you're having a lot of bad days, then do evaluate.
Well, yeah,
you want to be there, but
you need to reevaluate, do your pros and con list, and look at the whole big picture and the little picture. And if it's multiple bad days, then you might need to think about it. But if it's just one bad day, one incident,
And I do think that a lot of times advisors really take things personal when it comes to the job. I think that's a teacher problem, not just a journalism teacher problem.
It is.
And that's very natural. These are your babies. These are your kids. This yearbook is your project that, you're responsible for and you have to answer to, and blah, blah, blah. And, we love yearbook more than anyone in the world. Like, we love it. But at the end of the day, it's just a high school yearbook, or just a middle school yearbook, or whatever.
And I think part of that difference is it's permanent. It's permanent. When a football player makes a mistake on the football field, the quarterback doesn't complete the pass or whatever. Oh, good try. Somebody at a theater production, they miss their lines, or the light cue doesn't work or whatever. Oh, y'all, standing ovation. The yearbook comes out. I don't like that picture. My name is misspelled. This is a no good book. I hate it. And I think
ruined my kid's senior year. Like, no, I didn't.
Exactly. When can we retake those pictures? Well, ma'am, the book's already finished. You can't.
Did it in your hand.
I love that cartoon that comes up every year. I want to buy a yearbook. I love that little video thing. But anyway, but but I think that's part of it too. You know, it's permanent. And so we tend to look at it differently, but people look at it differently because it is. Now with video, things are more permanent now, you know, but it's not the same permanency as a printed book. I think it was Carol Burnett, y'all might not even go look her up, that said, once a word is printed, it takes on a life of its own. And that's very true.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful of that. So,
right. Yeah. Okay. So kind of with that, you know, on those hard days or when you're in the middle of a deadline and things are stressful, how would you recommend, or how have you coped with that sort of feeling and, you know, taking care of yourself and, you know, balancing it all?
Well, up until about 3 years ago, I would cope with it by stuffing candy in my mouth.
Same.
peanut M&Ms, jelly beans, miniature Hershey dark chocolate. I don't care what it was, you know, stuffing. And you know, when my daughter started, I mean, she was around teaching her whole life, but when she actually started teaching and was in a school by herself, she goes, "Mom, I now know why so many teachers are overweight. There's always food and the stress."
And stress,
you know,
yeah.
And I was a stress eater anyway. And that's how I cope with it. That was part of it. But then, you know, you realize you've got to do something different and, you know, yo-yo up and down or whatever. But you have to figure out what's best for you. You know, whether it's getting a massage, getting a manicure and a pedicure, even if it's more trouble to be absent than it is to go to school feeling bad. But sometimes you might just have to take a mental health day, you know, and just go do something for yourself, not your family, not your children, not your grandchildren, you. Because if you aren't taking care of yourself, how can you take care of your family and your student family? You know, so I was about 3 years ago. About 3 years ago, I just decided I had enough of yo-yo dieting. You know, I couldn't walk, I couldn't go upstairs, I couldn't get on the floor, you know, the whole 9 yards. But anyway, you can look it up on Facebook and read about it. But I decided I was going to do something about it, and I got really healthy, and I lost a lot of weight, and it's stayed off for over almost 2 years now, and I'm not ever going back to the yo-yo because I'm much healthier. I feel better. My mind is clearer. I'm more calm. And when you're healthy, and I don't just mean losing weight, that's not, I lost a lot of weight, but I'm talking about being healthy, where you eat the right fueling for your body, and you don't eat 3 big meals a day. You know, and I can go into all, if anybody's interested, I can do all that, but that's not what this is about. But that's how I take care of myself. I've learned to really be healthy, and therefore I'm better off because I can do more things with my family. I can do more with my students. Our building is 6 floors.
Oh my gosh.
Most of the classes are on like the first 3. The 4th floor is the gym. The 5th floor is dance and art, and the 6th floor is the rooftop, which is special.
I guess, yeah, because you're in downtown Houston, so
yeah, special events.
Go vertical. Yeah,
beautiful view of Minute Maid Park. Actually, I took a picture. We were up there the other day, and the roof was open, and you could see the trail. My view right now, you know. But anyway, yes. I can go up and down, and yeah, there's an elevator, but I can go up and down those stairs now and talk at the same time and not get out of breath and not have to stop. And again, that's because I've gotten healthy. And now what do I do when I get stressed? Do I still eat some stuff? Yeah, I eat almonds, sugar-free dark chocolate, but I don't just cram it in my mouth. I'm much more mindful about it. And that's another key. You've got to be mindful and pay attention to the present and be aware of what's happening around you, and drink lots of water. And I don't have my jug today. I have an organized advisor one, but I don't have that one today. But I love it. But I have so many that I leave them in different places because I'll forget them.
Oh yeah,
obviously. But you know, drink lots of water, take care of yourself, be mindful, and get healthy. Whatever healthy means to you, that's what you need to do. And that's how you manage stress. But again, manicures, pedicures, guys, I'm talking to you too. Manicures, pedicures, massages. It's okay.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. And you know, used to people would get them, oh, that's just for a massage is just fluff. No, it is therapeutic, and it gets toxins out of your body. So,
right. I feel like also when you are healthy, when you are prioritizing what goes into your body and what you are, if you're move your body, you're able to be more creative. You're able to be less stressed,
yes,
organized. And like you said, like you're thinking clearer. Like it's not just the weight loss or how you even feel physically. It's the mental part of it.
absolutely. I never realized before how much health. Yeah, we've always heard about mental health, physical health, two different things. Well, they're really not. They're really not. I mean, they are, but they aren't. But you're right. It's your mind is much better off when you're healthy, whatever healthy for you is.
Right. That's such good advice. I think a lot of journalism advisors need to hear that. A lot of teachers in general need to hear that. But also, I like to kind of keep in mind that you're modeling that for your students too. So when you take a mental health day, or I used to like ground my students from yearbook, I was like, you're not working on it this weekend. Like, don't even open the computer. Yeah. I think that is, it's good to show your students this is balance. This is taking care of your mental health. This is, where we can order pizza, yes, or we can order something more balanced, and provide better options and stuff like that. So
you're absolutely right about the balance. You're absolutely right about the balance, because teaching in general can be a 24/7 job. Yearbook and any other publication, newspaper, broadcast, whatever and some people have all of them. It can literally consume your life, where you do nothing but that. And that's not good either. So you've got to, if you have to readjust something, okay, today, this is this priority. I can do this tomorrow, this on Wednesday, this has to be done today. Okay, do it. And then just constantly readjust so that you do make balance. I'm like you, I tell the kids, okay, we're not working on yearbook today. We're going to, play a game, or we're going to have a party, or whatever we're going to do, but that's balance is so important.
Yep. In life, that's good advice for life in general.
Absolutely. Yeah. But especially for teachers, and especially for publications teachers.
For sure. For sure. Okay. So I just have one last question. And I could probably ask you questions all day long, but we'll have another episode.
I can talk all day long.
Yeah. The one question that I get a lot is from brand new advisors. So a lot of my audience is advisors in general, but specifically brand new people who are like, I don't even know where to start. So say you had someone come to you and they're brand new and they're really overwhelmed, and they're, right now we're talking and it's middle of December, and it's stressful. So what advice would you give to a brand new advisor entering the career now?
Entering as in the beginning of the year, or they're coming in the middle of the year?
Just entering as a new advisor.
New advisor. Okay. First of all, I would tell them, whatever it takes, get to a workshop and go to the new advisor session of the workshop. And I think just about every publishing company has one. And I would tell them it's going to be overwhelming. You're going to take pages and pages of notes, or take pictures with your phone, or whatever you do when you go to a workshop, and you're going to want to zone out. Try not to zone out. Just take it all in. And then after that workshop, find someone more experienced. I think JEA has mentors. If they don't, find someone either that's within your district that's been there longer. Reach out on Facebook.
Facebook groups are huge.
On your website, or your there's, like I was earlier, there's multiple places, but I would have them partner with someone, because teaching in general is overwhelming, and then doing a publication is overwhelming, and you just have to learn how to work through one thing at a time. And if you're doing yearbook, definitely take advantage of your yearbook rep. And if your yearbook rep is not servicing you in the way that you need it, then you find a different rep. Maybe you can't change companies in the middle of the year, obviously, but you can find another rep. You can talk to someone. That doesn't generally happen, but it has. I mean, it can, and it has. I mean, it's not the most common thing, but it does happen. So I would just tell them, don't ever, I tell my students is don't ever think there's a stupid question.
Right.
Because everybody that's doing this has been right where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to know it all at once. You don't have to know how to submit pages right now. You need to know how to gather information and set your book up and how you're going to take the pictures. Just,
Just
that's probably my best advice for a new advisor, and even if they're not doing yearbook, they could go to a workshop, obviously not from a publishing company, but one of the other conventions or one of the other organizations. They have newspaper advisor workshops and broadcast advisor workshops. And if all else fails, go to a yearbook summer workshop and go to the kids' sessions on newspaper or broadcast. I mean, there's always a way to figure out, but don't feel like you have to do it by yourself, because you don't, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Right. There's no sense for you to feel like, like you're drowning and just barely treading water, because there's so many people out there. And that's one thing I've noticed too, over all these years. Journalism teachers are willing to help other teachers in general, but especially journalism teachers, where some other teachers, other subject area teachers are not.
Right.
They don't want to help you. They don't want to give you their notes. They don't want to give you their idea. No, journalism teachers are very, very
so generous. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we're not going to steal your theme idea. We're not going to make our book look like your book or your newspaper look, but it's help and inspiration. So that's probably the best thing I can give for a brand new teacher.
That's great advice. I'm sure lots of advisors will be glad to hear that, because I get emails almost every day with some advisor that's just feeling totally overwhelmed. And then, a lot of times they just don't know where to look, or they don't know that they can ask those questions in the Facebook groups. Is usually where I point them, because there's so many other advisors out there willing to share and give advice, and also has questions that they could help with. And it doesn't matter if you've been advising 1 year or 20 years
or 44. I still have questions. I still have questions.
Right. So. And you contribute to the community so much, and it's back and forth. So great. Well, thank you so much for spending time chatting with us today. I really, really appreciate it. I think it's been so helpful to many, many people. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Thank you. I'm so glad. All right, guys. We will see you in the next episode next week, right back here on our YouTube channel. See you later. Bye.